Hello everyone, this is Starship Design Studio. Starship Design Studio is a program to build starships for the Starfinder roleplay game and export your modules into Fantasy Ground Virtual Tabletop. This is the second tutorial of building an NPC starship. And we had the first tutorial was building a PC starship. If you haven't already watched the first tutorial, please do, because that tutorial gives you everything you need to know to build a ship and all the instructions of actually of how to build the ship. So let's get started and let's build us an NPC starship. First thing we want to do is reload in our starship we previously built. We'll go ahead and up here in the dock, load the starship. There's the Perry Roden. Let's load it in, and there it is. So our first ship, that we had saved, was configured for PC. Down in this area here, this is where we configure our ship that we built for PC or NPC. Go ahead and check the NPC radio button. Click the button for the NPC skills, and you are right in the NPC skills dialog. This is where you build all of your skills for your NPC ship. The different sections of the NPC skills dialog. The first up here is the roles. When it's first loaded in, the pilot is selected for the roles, and it is the default selection, and it shows that the pilot is clicked on here, ready to edit the pilot skills. This section here is the crew, your minimum crew, maximum crew, complement with roles, which is the pilot, and a little complement update. This part right here is your modifiers. It tells you what your piloting is, computers, ranks, the amount of weapon mounts, equipped mounts, that sort of thing, which is used for the gunner. Here is your skills section. This is where you edit, add, subtract, whatever you want for all the skills for each one of the roles that you select. Right now we have the pilot selected for editing, and is currently editing the pilot, officers, number of crew per officer on board, and so on. This little part right here is the special abilities. This is where you add all your special abilities for your NPC ship. This part right here is for the autonomous NPC starship. I'll be demonstrating that in just a little bit. Okay, I want to first describe a little bit about the crew section here. The crew section gives you the minimum crew, maximum crew, complement, and complement with roles. And the complement is basically like if there's how many is actually on the ship that's doing something. You can have on a bigger ships you'll have like up to 300 crew, that sort of thing. So you can have a minimum crew of 100, a maximum of 300, or anything under and in between, that sort of thing. So if you didn't want to have a full complement of 300, then you would adjust it with this section right here. So we've got a crew minimum of 1, maximum of 6. If we just wanted to have a complement of 3, we could just type in 3 there, click the update button, and if we added more than 3 crew members to our NPC ship, then Starship Design Studio has come up with a little warning saying that you've exceeded your maximum complement. And the complement is what you see on your ship once it's all compiled. And that's basically about all that this section is here. And as you add on more and more NPC characters, the complement with roles will increase. So let's go ahead and we will edit the skills for the pilot. So the pilot is currently selected. The pilot is on board. If you tick this little box here, it takes a pilot or any other NPC off board that you are currently editing. So you can have a bunch of skills for each particular one. If you don't want them on board for that ship before compile time, you can just take on and off anything you want off board or put on board. So let's put the pilot back on board. This column here is obviously your skills. This column is your master skills. On NPC characters, according to the core rulebook, you have your NPC skills can have what's considered a good or normal skills, or you can have a master skill. And if you notice, it says piloting. I've got that checked for piloting for the pilot. Pilot up here is plus 23, 12 ranks, and the pilot has a piloting modifier of 1. So the pilot gets the pilot modifier already added in. And if we put just an example, engineering, it'll give engineering plus 22. So it won't give the plus 1 piloting, only on piloting skill will it give that that extra bonus to. And the same for computers. So if we check the computers, we've got plus 4 onto 22, which will be 26. So like everything in Starship Design Studio, all the bonuses and modifiers are all added in, all there for you. Okay, we're going to back off on these skills here, computers, engineering, and we're going to give the pilot master skill. Adds about 5 to it, so it went from a 23 up to a 28. And so you can kind of add however you want to do this. I toyed around with the idea of actually putting a randomizer in, so that if you wanted to randomize NPC skills, you could just click it and it would randomize randomly, whether it was regular pilot or regular skill or a master skill. But I figured, well, it's just best up to you to figure out what you wanted for your NPC players. Okay, we've got the pilot done there. We're going to give this a full complement of six crew members. Captain says it's off board, so we're currently editing the captain. We're going to go on board, and the captain's going to get some bluff, intimidate, diplomacy, and a master skill for intimidation. And there is all of the skills up there for the captain now. Let's do the science officer. Science officer's on board, and going to get just a regular computer skill for the science officer. All right, let's get the engineer. Engineer, we're going to give the engineering a master engineering skill. There we go. And the gunner, we're going to have 2 gunners. And I wanted to describe this this little section right here, and which it says officers and number of crew per officer. What that is the officers are the NPCs who actually do all your functions, like the gunners. If I wanted 2 gunners, I'd change that to 2. And now we got 2 gunners, and if I put that gunner on board, yep, we have too many. We got too many here. Okay, give us a little error warning there. We had too many, and that's why I'll demonstrate why that came up when we actually don't have that many in here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 2 there on board, and we got the little error here. It says complement error. If you have too many crew members, you're exceeding the complement of the ship. Well, I'd put 3 in here, and I didn't change it back to 6. So for the complement, so we're going to put the 6 back there, do the update, and now when we get back to our gunner on board, we're going to put 2 on board, and there we go, it took it with no error. So now we have a complement with rolls 5, and that's was the example I was telling you about on the cruise for adjusting the complement. So it'll give you a little error, tell you you've exceeded that. So we got 2 gunners, and we'll give the gunner the gunnery master skill. And on the bigger ships, if you have like a huge complement, that type of thing, you can have a number of crew per officers. So if I wanted to have 2 crew, I can put 2 crew per officer, so that would be 6, I believe, something like that, total and everything. So you'd have for each officer, you'd have 2, 3, whatever you put there. And I think we're going to get an error if I put error, so we got too many there. That's what that is. So, or if we put a 1, we should have like a total of 4, but we're still going to get an error on that. And once again, I put a lot of error checking in here, so it's not going to let you do something that build a ship it's not really correct. And if you look up in here, it tells us that we have 2 officers. So if we were able to add a number of crew per officers, let me just take a few off here just for a demonstration here. As a gunner, and we put 1 there. So it'd say change it 2 officers and 1 crew each per officer. So that should actually come up to 4 total. So we have a complement of 5 here. We have our science officer, and then 4 crew members for the gunnery, and that comes up to the complement with rolls of 5 right there. So let's put that back to no crew per officer, and we'll go ahead and put our captain back on board, pilot back on board, and let's finish up the engineer here. Engineers on board, and there we go. We got all of the ranks for our NPC players there. And once again, all of the modifiers are added in. The 4 goes on the computer right here, plus 26 instead of plus 22. As we have a computer bonus of 4. Next, we're going to go ahead and add in the special abilities, and that's pretty easy to do. Just do an add. The special abilities comes up, and we're just going to call this ability 1. Ability 1 description. Okay, add that in, and it goes into the combo box, and your description goes down here. Whatever you got selected in the combo box, down in this area here is your description. Let's add just another one here. Ability 2. Ability 2 description. Okay, add that in, and there we go. So now we got 2 in the combo box. Right now we have ability 1 selected. There's a description for ability 1, ability 2 description in here. So you're all set, and that will be on your Starship sheet. Everything will be on there, added all in, and I'll show you that when we compile our Starships. The last section is the autonomous section, so that you can have an autonomous ship, which is, computer controlled or controlled by something, and when you just put all of your skills in, and it will just be under one heading as autonomous, or whatever you call the role name here for your autonomous ship. So instead of having captain, pilot, science officer, all of that, autonomous ships don't have that. They're just all those skills are run by the autonomous functions of the ship, and I'll demonstrate that. So when you compile your NPC ship, if you have the autonomous checkbox checked, it will compile your NPC ship as an autonomous ship. If you have that unchecked, it will compile it as an NPC with all these roles. So whatever you've got checked here. And so we're going to do this here, and we're going to the role name, just standard default is autonomous, so we're going to put computer controlled. There we go. And we've got all of this area here is grayed out, so you can't check everything and change anything. That's grayed out for your crews, and the onboard part is grayed out also. So, but the skills still work the same. You adjust your skills here, and it's for the autonomous if the autonomous check is checked. So we're going to go piloting, master skill there. engineering, computers, gunnery, master skill there. Okay, and there we go. We have all this is in the skills, and when you see that on your NPC ship, it'll be laid out in this format. Similar to up here, only say computer controlled, which you have right there. Okay, that's about it for the NPC skills. I'm going to uncheck the checkbox here, and so it'll be compiled as a regular type NPC ship with all these roles. Okay, we've got it all pretty well in there. Let's click the OK, and now let's save the ship. So we'll save all of our NPC parameters. Launch, save the Starship. There it is. Save, and yeah, we want to replace that. Now, once you have all of your NPC skills typed in, all that, then you can compile it as an NPC ship. If you wanted to compile this back as a PC ship, just click the PC radio button, and it ignores all of those skills that you just placed in there, and it will just generate it as a PC ship. Let's go ahead and reconfigure it back to the NPC. And let's go ahead and we will export a NPC ship now. Launch, and we have, if you notice, there's two different types of NPC ships, and I would work over that and describe that just a little bit. The export a PC style NPC ship basically exports a PC ship, but it's configured as for NPC. And the reason I've done that is because Fantasy Grounds has no combat tracker at this present time. In the future, it probably will, but at the present time, it doesn't. And the best way to run the Starship combat, actually the only way you can if you're going to use a ship, is using a PC style ship configured for NPC. You can export an NPC ship, and I'll show you that also, and it comes up as a regular NPC ship that will go into the future combat tracker if or when it ever appears. So let's go ahead and let's export our NPC ship as a PC style ship. Click that, and Fantasy Grounds PC style NPC Starship Perry Roden has been exported. Okay, let's load up Fantasy Grounds and check out our ship. Okay, our Fantasy Grounds has been loaded up. Let's go ahead and go into data, modules. There is our Starship, Starship Design Studio Perry Roden. Let's load it up. All right, and it should be, and that should still be in the PC ships section there, and there it is. And let's bring up the Starship, and basically it looks it's identical to the PC ship, except for in the systems area here is where I put your NPC skills. I did that so it's just easy to get to. It's also in the notes section. I'll show you that in just a little bit, but everything is pretty well the same. All your DCs and all that sort of thing are still where they are at. Computer, all your DCs, everything there is the same, just like the PC ship. Now I added in your skills onto the systems because it's just easy to access, and it doesn't cost anything, and it doesn't change anything. So I bring that up, and I also put in the NPC skills and the name of your starship. So if you're using a few NPC ships and you just want to have your skills up for instead of the whole sheet, you can just bring up this little dialogue and have them on your screen there somewhere, and it's easy to reference because the names of the ships will be there. And here is the all of your skills that we had in Starship Design Studio, and the note, the NPC crew, the piloting, and computers modifiers are included. So there is that, and that's the only actual difference. One other note I forgot to add in on the PC ship was the transponder system. There it is right there, your transponder frequency, and you can edit that. Just unlock this and edit this to to off if you want it off. There we go. Okay. All right, your transponder is off. You turned it off, and you are in secret mode, if that's what it is. Okay, it's gone down through the tabs. Crew, no crew. That's all NPC. Your weapons are all pretty well the same as they was in the other ship. Linked coil guns and all that sort of thing. No cargo and notes. And if you notice, this has grown quite a bit since the PC ship. So there's quite a bit extra there and everything, and then some of the stuff is still the same. You have the description, your NPC crew. Here's all your skills and all that. Special abilities that you typed in: ability 1, ability 2, and your engineer's PC or power balancing report still there. You have to shut your thrusters down, and the ship specifications. Okay, and that pretty well winds it up for the PC style NPC ship. So let's go on back to Starship Design Studio, and we will configure an NPC ship as an autonomous ship. And basically, it's pretty much the same, just the skills are a little bit differently, and I'll just do that real quickly. Okay, get off of there, Bring up Starship Design Studio, NPCs. We are autonomous. Okay, launch and export a PC style. There we go. Okay, there we go. Bring up Fantasy Grounds, and we're going to go back in. And the good thing about this, you can have Fantasy Grounds up in the background and also Starship Design Studio. And you can make all your changes that you want, and it will change it in real time right into Fantasy Grounds, as long as you've already loaded the module in when you've loaded up Fantasy Grounds. So if you have Fantasy Grounds open and you make a module with a new name, it's not going to show. You're going to have to close Fantasy Grounds down, reload it in, and all that. But if once you've got the module loaded in and then you're changing things in the same module, it'll change it so you don't have to close Fantasy Grounds down. All you got to do is go into Data, back to your modules, and you have to unload it and then reload it back in again. And also you want to right click, and if you see this little revert changes arrows, you'll want to click that to revert. Make sure that you do check that so it will revert. Otherwise you can go back in and you'll see your ship and go, whoa, something don't look right. So just make sure you right click and click that revert after you've loaded it and unloaded it. So let's go back and get our ship back up and pull up the skills, and here we go. We have an autonomous ship. So computer controlled skills, piloting, engineering, computers, ranks, all that on your little dialogue that's in your systems here. And the same on the notes. It's computer controlled, so it just changed it to autonomous. All right, let's go ahead and get back into Fantasy Grounds, and let's export a regular NPC style Starship. So we are going to go back to NPC skills. We're going to uncheck the autonomous, and so it'll generate it all with all this information here. Okay, and let's export a Fantasy Grounds NPC ship. There it is. It's been exported. Go back to Fantasy Grounds. Unload, load. Okay, we don't have to revert anything. Everything's good to go. There we are. And if we go into the PC ships, hey, it's gone. That's because it went over here to Starships. There it is right there. And there is your NPC sheet. This is the one that actually I'm assuming will be drug into the future combat tracker if or when it ever appears. So this gives you everything, all your stats and everything of your NPC ship. There is a few differences I put on here. On the attacks, your guns are all there. There's linked coil gun, 8d4. I put in your anti-personnel weapon in the attack section. I don't know if that's going to work. Probably won't when or if they get the combat tracker going. I may have to put that somewhere else. But once again, once they get the tracker in, I'll test it right away. And anything I need to change, I will definitely change so it all works. And if you have the program, you're welcome to get the updated program. It'll be out right away. But for now, that's where I put it. So that's your anti-personnel weapon right there. All your other information is here, and right here on this where it says systems computer MK4 dual node computer. The DCs, defenses, and all that sort of thing, it says in the other tab. If you remember on the first tutorial, I said there's going to be little notes next to a lot of things that say check the other tab, and there'll be lots of information over there. So let's go ahead and check our other tab here. There we got a lot of stuff here, and as you add in your computer countermeasures and security measures and all that sort of thing, this is going to get real busy over here. There's going to be a lot of information over here for you. So here we got under our computer defensives, the tier, the hack, and once again the cool thing about Starship Design Studio, all your DCs are put out there so that you don't have to crack open that core rule book and say, well, got to add this and that, and well, it's all there for you. And same with the computer modules I described in the first tutorial of why I put in the computer modules, and you can take those out anytime you want. The tutorial for the computer countermeasures and security systems, I'll show you how to do all of that. So everything's pretty well right here. We got our engineer's PCU power balancing. You got to shut the thrusters off. Your cruise skills, your description, specifications. Well, it's all there, right there. And I'm not going to generate a NPC ship as autonomous because it's basically the same thing. I already showed you that. It just changes the skills. Look this over real quick, and I believe that's pretty well it. Oh, there's your transponder frequency, and it's on. Thrusters, all looks pretty good. So I think that's about it, and that wraps up this tutorial of building an NPC Starship with Starship Design Studio. And thank you very much for this tutorial. The next one coming up is going to be for the computer countermeasures and security systems of your Starship. And thank you very much.